never played for another club, never wore another badge, and most fans under 25 have no idea how rare that actually is anymore. In today's game, players switch teams every 2 years for a bigger paycheck. So when someone spends their entire career, sometimes 15, 18, even 20 years at a single club, that's not just loyalty, that's something you don't see anymore. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why some of these players are treated like gods in their cities, not just because of their skill, but because they never left. So here's the problem. Modern football doesn't reward loyalty. Clubs sell players the moment a bigger offer comes in, and players chase trophies, money, and legacy wherever it takes them. Real Madrid, Man City, PSG, they'll buy anyone. So staying at one club for your whole career means turning down that money, turning down easier trophies, and betting your entire legacy on one team, one city, one badge. These 10 players made that bet, and it paid off in a way that money never could. Let's start the list. Number 10. Matt Le Tissier, Southampton. If you're not from England, you probably don't know this name, but ask any Southampton fan and they'll tell you Le Tissier could have played for any club in Europe in the 90s. Blackburn wanted him, Chelsea wanted him, Tottenham wanted him. He said no every single time. He stayed at Southampton for his entire 16-year career, scored some of the most ridiculous goals English football has ever seen, including scoring from almost every penalty he ever took, and became a cult hero not because Southampton won trophies, they didn't really, but because he chose them every single time when he didn't have to. That's what makes this list different. It's not always about winning. Sometimes it's about staying. Number 9. Tony Adams, Arsenal. Tony Adams joined Arsenal's youth academy at the age of 10 years old. 10! He then went on to captain the club for most of his career, winning 4 league titles and multiple domestic cups across nearly 20 years at the club. What makes his story different from most on this list is what he went through off the pitch. Adams battled alcoholism during his career, and instead of hiding it, he came out publicly about it, got help, and came back to lead Arsenal to more silverware. He didn't just stay loyal to a club, he stayed loyal to himself, fought through it, and never once considered leaving Arsenal through any of it. Number 8. Jamie Carragher, Liverpool. Carragher is proof that you don't need to be the most talented player to become a legend. You just need to give everything to one place. He played 17 seasons for Liverpool, made over 700 appearances, and became known as one of the toughest, smartest defenders of his generation. He never won the league with Liverpool, which still hurts him to this day if you watch him talk about it now, but he won the Champions League in 2005 in that unforgettable comeback against AC Milan. Carragher turned down offers to leave for bigger trophies elsewhere. He said Liverpool was his club as a kid, and it stayed his club until the day he retired. Number 7. Paul Scholes, Manchester United. Scholes is considered by players like Zidane and Xavi as one of the best midfielders they ever played against. And yet, he spent his entire career playing for Manchester United, never once tempted to leave. He won 11 Premier League titles and 2 Champions Leagues. But what's wild is how quiet he was about it. Scholes never sought attention, never did flashy interviews. He just showed up and controlled games from midfield for almost 20 years. He even came out of retirement to help United one more time when they needed him. That's not a mercenary. That's someone who saw the club as home. Number 6. Ryan Giggs, Manchester United. Giggs holds the record for the most appearances in Manchester United's history and one of the longest careers at a single club in football history. 23 years as a professional at Old Trafford. Think about that. He debuted under one manager and was still playing competitive football under the same manager over 2 decades later. He won 13 league titles, 2 Champions Leagues, and became the definition of consistency in a sport where careers usually last 10 to 15 years at most. Giggs never left because, in his own words, United gave him everything, and he wanted to give everything back. Number 5. Carlos Puyol, Barcelona. Puyol is the heart of one of the greatest generations of players Barcelona has ever produced. He came through the club's academy, La Masia, and stayed there his entire career, becoming captain and leading the club through the most dominant period in their history under Pep Guardiola. What made Puyol different wasn't flash, it was pure passion. He threw his body at every challenge, played through injuries most players wouldn't dare to, and became the symbol of what Barcelona stood for during that era. bigger clubs came calling, he never listened. Barcelona was the only club he ever wanted to play for, and he proved it every single game. Number 4. Xavi Hernandez, Barcelona. Xavi is considered one of the greatest passers in the history of the sport, and he did all of it wearing one badge for 17 years. He came through the same academy as Puyol, and together with players like Messi and Iniesta, built the most dominant style of football the world has ever seen, tiki-taka. Xavi won 8 league titles and 4 Champions Leagues, and after retiring as a player, he came back years later to coach the club. That's the level of loyalty we're talking about here. Not just staying as a player, but coming home again after everything else. Number 3. Francesco Totti, AS Roma. Now we're getting into the players that entire cities build statues for. Totti didn't just play for Roma, he was Roma. Born in the city, raised as a fan of the club, he made his debut at 16 years old and stayed for the next 25 years until he retired at almost 41. He turned down Real Madrid at the peak of his career, a move that would have made him one of the richest and most famous players on the planet. He said no because leaving Rome felt like leaving his family. Roma never won as much as the bigger clubs during his time, but to this day, when you say the word Roma in Italy, people think of Totti first. Number 2. Alessandro Del Piero, Juventus. Del Piero spent 19 years at Juventus and became the club's all-time top scorer, a record that stood for years after he left. What makes his story powerful is that he stayed even through Juventus' darkest period, when the club was relegated to Serie B in 2006 due to a match-fixing scandal that had nothing to do with him. Most star players would have jumped ship immediately to protect their career and reputation. Del Piero stayed, played in the second division for a club he loved, helped them get promoted back, and led them to more trophies once they returned. That's not loyalty out of comfort, that's loyalty through the worst moment the club ever faced. And now, the number 1 player on this list, the most iconic example of one club loyalty in the history of football. Number 1. Paolo Maldini, AC Milan. Maldini didn't just play for AC Milan for 25 years. His entire family did. His father played for Milan before him. His sons played in Milan's academy after him. 3 generations, 1 club. Maldini debuted for the first team at just 16 years old in 1985 and didn't retire until 2009 at the age of 41, still playing at a high level in the Champions League in his final season. During that time, he won 7 league titles and 5 Champions Leagues, and he did it all as a defender, which tells you how good he actually was, because defenders usually don't become the face of a club's entire era. Real Madrid tried to sign him more than once. He turned him down every time, saying there was nothing in football bigger to him than the AC Milan badge. When Maldini retired, the club retired his number, and to this day, whenever people talk about what it means to give everything to one team, his name comes up first. Not because he was the most skilled player ever, but because he proved that loyalty in football, real loyalty, still means something. So there you have it. 10 players who could have played anywhere in the world, made more money anywhere else, won more trophies somewhere bigger, and instead chose to stay. In a sport that's more business than ever right now, these are the stories that remind us why we fell in love with football in the first place. If you want to see the players who did the complete opposite of this list, hit subscribe, because that video is coming next.